What if I told you that right now in real time, millions of women across the Western world are waking up to a nightmare they never saw coming, a cold, brutal reality where the safety nets they counted on have vanished, the men they took for granted have disappeared, and the ideology that promised them everything has delivered nothing but hardship and isolation? And what if I prove to you step by step, with cold, hard facts and undeniable trends, that this isn't some temporary dip? It's the permanent new normal. And by the time we reach the end of this video, you'll see exactly why no bailout is coming, no white knights are riding in, and the consequences are only going to get worse from here. Stay locked in because this one hits different. If you're getting value already, smash that like button, share this video with every man you know who needs to hear the truth, and subscribe right now for more unfiltered angry guy content that the mainstream won't touch. And gentlemen, if you're tired of being broke in this rigged economy, if you want to learn how to protect your assets, build real wealth, and master crypto so no one can ever take what's yours again, go check out Angry's Crypto Academy right now. The link is in the description. Click it, sign up, and start securing your future today. Let me paint the picture for you because this didn't happen overnight. It was decades in the making. For years, hell, for generations. Society hammered one message into men's heads. Being a traditional man is toxic. Provide? That's oppressive. Protect? That's patriarchal. Lead? That's controlling. Masculinity itself was put on trial, demonized, shamed in schools, in media, in workplaces, everywhere. Men were told to sit down, shut up, and hand over their roles, their resources, their very purpose. And what did men do? They didn't riot. They didn't whine endlessly on talk shows. They didn't demand safe spaces. No. Men did what men have always done when the game is rigged against them. They quietly assessed the situation, calculated the cost benefit, and walked the hell away. That's the part no one wants to admit. Men walking away isn't some loud protest movement with hashtags and marches. It's silent. It's surgical. It's millions of men, one by one, opting out of a system that hates them. They stop chasing women who offer nothing but attitude and entitlement. They stop pouring their time, money, and energy into dates that go nowhere, relationships that drain them, marriages that statistically end with them broken. Instead, they turned inward. They built home gyms in their basements and garages, places where they can get strong without some influencer telling them strength is toxic. They learned skills that actually pay: day trading, e-commerce, drop shipping, coding, content creation, affiliate marketing, businesses they can run from a laptop without ever putting on a tie or kissing corporate ass. They embraced minimalism, not as some trendy aesthetic, but as a weapon. Cut the fat. No more wasteful spending on designer bags for girlfriends who contribute nothing. No more $200 dates just to be ghosted. Buy what you need, invest the rest, stack cash, and watch your bank account grow while everyone else panics about inflation. They found peace, real peace, the kind that comes when you stop arguing with someone who disrespects you daily, the kind that comes when your money is yours, your time is yours, your energy is yours. And for a while, society didn't notice. Women were riding high on the girl boss wave, hot girl summers, empowerment anthems, the whole circus. Feminism told them they didn't need men. They had the state, the government, the welfare systems, the family courts, the HR departments, all stacked in their favor. They traded husbands for handouts, providers for policies, real relationships for rhetoric. And men just kept walking. Now, fast forward to today, November 2025, and the bill has come due. Inflation isn't just a headline anymore. It's eating people's lives. Groceries up 30, 40, 50% in some categories. Rent in major cities, forget about it unless you're pulling six figures. Energy bills through the roof, and wages flat or falling in real terms for most people. The girl boss era is dead and buried. Hot girl summer turned into broke girl winter real quick, and it's not thawing out. Women who were told they could have it all, career, independence, endless options, are now staring at spreadsheets realizing they can't even cover basics alone. The same women who bragged about not needing a man are now flooding social media with those desperate videos. Where have all the good men gone? Men aren't approaching anymore. Why won't men commit? They're in shock, absolute shock, because they were sold a lie their entire lives. Mothers, teachers, media all told them men will always be there. Men will always want you. Men are disposable, but you'll never be without options. Older women, especially, the ones who rode the first waves of feminism, divorced their husbands, took the house, the kids, the alimony, refused to warn the younger generation. They kept the fantasy alive because admitting the truth would mean admitting they destroyed something precious. But as the late, great Kevin Samuels used to say, winter is here. Hard times have arrived, and this time no one's coming to save them. The state they bet everything on, it's broke. Deficits exploding, currencies devaluing, social programs getting cut left and right because there's no money left. The same governments that subsidized single motherhood for decades are now telling people to tighten their belts. And men, we're not subsidizing anymore. No more simps paying for OnlyFans. No more beta providers footing dinner tabs. No more husbands working 60 hours a week so she can find herself at yoga retreats. Men have gone ghost. Every day I see it. More women on TikTok, Instagram, X, begging, literally begging. Come back. We'll be better. We'll cook. We'll appreciate you. Too late. The trust is gone. The desire is fading. Lust itself is dying because constant disrespect kills attraction faster than anything. And here's where it gets really dark for them. They have no community. Men built everything, society, infrastructure, technology, but when we walk away, we take our cooperation with us. Women have no real female friendships that weather storms. Study after study shows women's social circles are shallow, competitive, full of gossip and backstabbing. When times get hard, those ride or die girl gangs evaporate. No strong family structures left because feminism nuked those too. Parents divorced, siblings scattered, kids raised by screens. So now they're isolated, truly alone, competing with each other for dwindling government scraps that won't even cover a week's groceries, let alone rent. The consequences of decades of man hating, entitlement, and terrible choices are crashing down all at once. And, gentlemen, it's just beginning. Look at divorce rates. Even married men are waking up now. More and more guys in their 30s, 40s, 50s realizing this marriage is a prison. She's miserable. I'm miserable. The kids are gone or grown, and I'm bleeding money every month. So they walk, they file, they leave her the house with a massive mortgage she can't afford alone, and they move into a small apartment or even a van if needed. Minimalism kicks in hard. One mouth to feed, one set of bills, no more funding her shopping addictions or family vacation as she complains about anyway. Within months, sometimes weeks, their finances explode upward. Savings accounts filling, investments compounding, stress plummeting, gym gains through the roof, peace undistributable. I know dozens of guys personally who, 1 year post divorce, are in the best shape of their lives, making more money than ever, traveling, building businesses, living like kings on half the income they had before. Because when you remove the parasite, the host thrives. Women thought men couldn't survive alone, that we'd be lonely, depressed, begging to come back. They miscalculated badly. Men are wired for solitude when necessary. We hunted alone for days, fought wars in trenches, built empires from nothing. Loneliness? We'd rather be alone than in bad company that nags, criticizes, and uses us. And something profound is happening. Men's natural desire is being rewired. Years of rejection, false accusations, financial rape in courts, seeing friends destroyed, it kills lust. Guys are looking at modern women and feeling relief at being single, gratitude even. Hey guys, in a world pushing you to own nothing and be happy, crypto is your key to survival. Join Angry's Crypto Academy to master buying, selling, and trading crypto. Make huge profits and safeguard your wealth. Plus, discover the one crypto virtually no one is talking about, poised to create new millionaires in the upcoming bull run. The link is in the description of the video below. Go check it out now. Grateful not to deal with the drama, the entitlement, the constant tests. Women won battles, divorce laws, Me Too, affirmative action, all of it, but they lost the war. The sexual marketplace has flipped, the power dynamic has inverted, and the fallout for women is only accelerating. They were shielded from reality their whole lives, protected by fathers, simps, the state, culture itself, soft landings everywhere. Now that shield is gone. And reality is a cruel teacher. Nature doesn't negotiate. The world doesn't care about your feelings or your degree in gender studies. Without men's protection, provision, and innovation, things get primitive fast. And most women today have zero experience with actual hardship. They've never had to compete in a fair arena, never had to build anything real, and never faced consequences that couldn't be cried or complained away. Now they will. And it's going to be brutal. We're already seeing the early stages, rising female depression, anxiety meds through the roof, more women than ever on antidepressants, dating apps collapsing because men stopped swiping, birth rates plummeting because men refuse to bring children into this mess, economic indicators showing single women in poverty at rates we haven't seen in decades. This is the great reckoning. The pendulum didn't just swing, it shattered the mechanism, and there's no going back. Men have tasted peace, and we will burn the boats before giving it up again. So, to every woman watching this somehow, this is what accountability looks like. You wanted equality? Congratulations, you're getting it. No more special treatment and no more safety nets built on men's backs. Survive or don't, compete or perish. The era of princesses is over. Welcome to the real world. And, gentlemen, let me slow this down for a second so you truly feel the weight of what's actually happening right now in November 2025. Picture this: a 29-year-old woman in a major city, decent job in marketing, maybe 70 to 80,000 a year, lives in a one-bedroom apartment that used to cost $1,800 a month in 2021. Today, that same apartment is $3,100 and climbing. Her student loans just exited deferment. Groceries for one person now run her close to $600 a month if she's careful. Utilities, another $300 in winter. Car insurance up 40%. Health insurance deductible through the roof. And her take-home pay after taxes and 401k, barely $4,200 a month. She's negative every single month now. Negative. For the first time in her adult life, she's running credit card balances she can't pay off. She's cutting subscriptions, eating rice and chicken, skipping the hair appointments, the nails, the brunches she used to post about every weekend. And she's one of the lucky ones, still employed, no kids. Now multiply that by millions. That's not hyperbole. That is the statistical reality for the majority of single women under 35. In every blue city in America right now. The data dropped last month from the Census Bureau and the Fed's latest survey of consumer finances. Single women aged 25 to 34 have a median net worth of negative $4,200. Negative. Men in the same bracket plus $28,000. That gap has never been wider in recorded history. And it's accelerating. She was told, lean in, girl boss. You don't need a man. Live your best life. She did exactly what the culture ordered her to do. Delayed marriage, focused on career, racked up debt for the lifestyle, slept around in her prime years, thinking the carousel never ends. And now, overnight, the music stopped, and there are no chairs left. The men who would have gladly paid for that apartment, those brunches, that lifestyle, They saw the crash coming 5 years ago and they ghosted the entire game. They're in a paid off condo an hour outside the city or a small rural town, making 150,000 remote, lifting in their garage gym, eating ribeyes they bought straight from the rancher, bank account stacking six figures a year because their overhead is $1,800 a month total. They're not bragging on social media. They're not posting gym selfies, well, for female attention. They're silent. They're gone. And she can feel the silence now, like a vacuum where male energy used to be. That's why those "Where Are All the Men?" Fialda Men videos are exploding. They're not scripted, they're panic, raw, unfiltered panic from women who 6 months ago were still laughing at incels and broke dudes. Now they're refreshing dating apps that look like ghost towns because any man with options has either checked out completely or raised his standards into the stratosphere. And the married women don't think they're safe. I want you to imagine a 42-year-old married woman right now, married 15 years, two kids, big house in the suburbs, $450,000 mortgage at 3.1%. She refinanced in 2021. Her husband lost his job in the 2025 tech layoffs or took a 30% pay cut to keep one. Property taxes up 25% in 3 years. Groceries for a family of four, now $1,400 a month. Braces for the kid. Summer camps canceled. College funds drained. She's back at work part time, exhausted, resentful, picking fights every night because stress turns people into their worst selves. He's sitting there at 10 p.m. doing the math on a spreadsheet. If he walks away tomorrow, moves into a $900 studio, eats clean, lives minimalist, he's cash flow positive, $4,000 a month starting day one. In 2 years, he's a millionaire again. With her, they're drowning together, and she's blaming him for not figuring it out while simultaneously telling him he's not emotionally available. I'm getting messages every single day from men in exactly that seat, and more of them are pulling the plug. They're not doing it loudly. They're meeting with attorneys quietly, separating finances, documenting everything, and one random Tuesday, they're gone. She wakes up to an empty closet and a text. Papers are filed. You wanted the house, it's yours. Good luck. And the house becomes a prison. Because in this economy, you can't sell an $800,000 house with a $450,000 mortgage. There are no buyers. Rates are 8% now. She's stuck with $4,800 a month in mortgage taxes and insurance on a part time income and whatever child support the judge orders. Within 6 months, she's filing bankruptcy or begging family to move in just to keep the lights on. That story is playing out real time in every zip code in America. And here's the part that keeps me up at night thinking about the sheer scale of what's coming. This is still the early innings. We haven't even hit the real recession yet. The Fed's own projections show unemployment heading to 7 to 8% by late 2026. Commercial real estate is collapsing, office buildings empty, malls dying, property values about to get slaughtered, state budgets are imploding, California, New York, Illinois already cutting social programs that millions of single mothers depend on. Section 8 wait lists are years long now. The food stamp increases aren't keeping pace with food inflation. The safety net is shredding in real time. And when that net fully rips, that's when the real desperation begins. We're already seeing the previews. Women in their late 30s and 40s flooding back to their ex husbands, begging to work things out. Women who monkey branched to a better guy 5 years ago, suddenly discovering that guy walked away too. And now they're trying to crawl back to the boring provider they divorced. And 95% of the time, the answer is a calm, cold no. Door closed, heart locked, peace protected. Because men have finally learned the lesson feminism spent 50 years trying to beat out of us. Your peace is non negotiable, your frame is everything. Once you taste true freedom, once you realize how fast wealth rebuilds without a financial black hole in your home, there is no price high enough to drag you back. And lust, brother, When you haven't had sex in a year, but your bank account is up $180,000 and your blood pressure is 110 over 70 for the first time since college, you start to realize that particular itch isn't worth scratching if the cost is your soul. Women fundamentally misunderstood male nature. They thought our desire was infinite and unbreakable. They thought they could disrespect us, use us, legislate against us, shame us, and we'd still come running the second they snapped their fingers. They confused thirst with loyalty. They mistook simps for the standard model of man. But the simps are broke now, too. The middle class is evaporating. Only two types of men are left: the top 5 to 10% who can still play the old game if they want to, and most of them are choosing not to, or the men who walked away entirely and rebuilt on their own terms. Everyone else is gone. And that's why birth rates are collapsing faster than anyone predicted. Japan looked at our numbers last quarter and said, damn, America's falling off the cliff quicker than we did. We're projected to hit a TFR of 1.3 by 2028. That's not a recession. That's demographic collapse. Entire school districts closing, maternity wards shutting down. A society that stops replacing itself dies, slowly at first, then all at once. And who gets hit first and hardest when a society starts to die? The people who spent decades dismantling the very structures that protected them: family, faith, community, masculinity. Winter isn't coming. Winter is here. And the storm that's about to hit women who've never faced real adversity is biblical in scale. They're about to learn what men learned the hard way generations ago. The world doesn't owe you comfort. Nature is unforgiving. Resources are finite. And when the music stops, feelings don't pay the rent. So, to every man watching this, hold the line, protect your peace like it's the last currency on earth, because it is. Keep building, keep stacking, keep walking the path you're on, because the world you're creating for yourself is the only one that's going to be habitable in 5 years. And to any woman who somehow landed on this video, this isn't hate, this is physics. Actions have consequences, choices compound, and the bill always comes due. You were warned repeatedly by men you called bitter, by statistics you called misogyny, by reality itself screaming in your face. Now the consequences are here, and they have your name on them. Let me take you even deeper into the stories that are unfolding right now. Because once you see the individual lives behind the statistics, you can't unsee how irreversible this shift truly is. I want you to meet Sarah, not her real name, but her story is one I'm hearing in variations every single day in my DMs. Sarah is 32, lives in Atlanta, makes about 78,000 in corporate marketing, has a master's degree she's still paying off, and until about 8 months ago, she was the epitome of the modern independent woman. She had the apartment downtown, the girls' trips to Miami, the Instagram grid full of brunches and living my best life captions. She dated casually, always with the attitude that she didn't need a man, that the right one would show up when she was ready to settle. She laughed at her friends who got married young, called them trapped, said she was too focused on her career to waste time on anything serious. Fast forward to November 2025. Her rent just jumped another $350 a month because the building got bought by some investment firm. Her groceries are pushing $550 a month now for one person because eggs are still stupid expensive and everything else followed. Her student loans came out of forbearance, and she's staring at $680 payments that eat a fifth of her take home. She cut the gym membership, the nail appointments, the weekend outings. She's tired all the time, stressed, snapping at her mom on the phone. And the dating apps, they're dead. Matches down 70% from what they were 3 years ago. The few guys who do message are either broke themselves or want something casual with zero effort. Last week, she posted a tearful TikTok. Yeah, one of those "Where All the Good Men" videos that got 1.2 million views. In it, she's sitting on her couch in sweats, no makeup, asking why no one approaches anymore, why men don't want to commit, Why everyone just wants hookups. The comments were brutal, half telling her it's her standards, the other half men calmly explaining they opted out years ago because the risk isn't worth it. She deleted the video after 2 days, but the damage was done. She told me privately she's terrified. For the first time in her life, she's looking at turning 33 alone, broke, and realizing the have it all timeline she was sold was a complete fantasy. Multiply Sarah by hundreds of thousands. That's what's happening in every major city right now. And the data backs it up harder than most people are ready to admit. The most recent numbers we have on single net worth by gender are painful when you break them down. Single women under 35 have a median net worth of around $1,300. Yes, you heard that right. Barely over $1,000. Single men in the same age group, over $10,000 on median. That's not a small gap, that's a canyon. By 35 to 54, the gap widens even more. Women at about $13,000 median, men pushing $40,000. And these numbers are pre 2025 inflation crush. When you factor in the last 12 months of rent spikes, grocery increases, and energy bills, that gap has exploded wider. Women are going backward financially, while men who walked away early are compounding forward at rates they've never seen before. Why? Because men cut the cord and went full monk mode. No more funding dates that lead nowhere. No more co signing lifestyles. No more emotional and financial labor for women who offer zero reciprocity. The money that used to disappear into Uber Eats orders, concert tickets for her and her friends, $300 hair appointments, it's all staying in men's pockets now. Compounding, growing, turning good men into wealthy men incredibly fast. And fertility, brothers, pay attention, because this is the silent earthquake no one is talking about yet. The provisional 2024 numbers just dropped, and America's total fertility rate is now sitting at about 1.59 births per woman, lower than Japan's was when everyone said Japan was doomed. We're not on the edge of demographic collapse. We've fallen off the cliff and we're in free fall. The CBO quietly revised their long-term projection down to 1.60 lifetime births. And even they admit that's optimistic. Schools in entire counties are closing because there aren't enough kids. Maternity wards are shutting down and converting to geriatric care because that's where the patients are going to be in 20 years. Who does collapsing fertility hit hardest? The same group that spent the last 2 decades telling men they weren't needed. Daycares are already seeing enrollment drops, pediatric practices closing. The entire economic ecosystem built around young families is contracting, and it's only accelerating. And the where are all the good men gone content? It's not slowing down, it's exploding. TikTok trended multiple versions of it all year. The man of the year sarcasm videos where women post screenshots of the worst behavior imaginable from guys they dated. The women in male fields trend parodying toxic behavior, and straight up crying videos asking why men disappeared. But the ones that hit hardest are the quiet ones, the 30 something women filming from their empty apartments, realizing the party is over, and no one warned them the music was going to stop this abruptly. I saw one last week that stopped me cold. Woman in Chicago, 36, good job in tech, beautiful by any standard. She's sitting at her kitchen table doing the math out loud. Rent $2,900. Student loans $720. Health insurance $480. Groceries $620. Utilities $280. Car payment and insurance another $650. Total expenses $5,750 a month before she buys a single coffee or puts gas in the tank. Take home pay $5,100 after taxes, and for 01k, she's negative $650 every month and has been for 6 months straight. She's burning savings that were supposed to be for a house down payment. In the video, she whispers, "I was told I could have it all. I did everything right. Where did everyone go?" That's the sound of reality finally breaking through decades of propaganda. And married women aren't watching this from the sidelines thinking they're safe. Oh no, the guys inside those marriages are paying closer attention than ever. They're seeing the Sarahs, they're seeing the data, they're doing the math on what their life would look like with 50 to 60% more disposable income and zero daily conflict. They're joining the online communities quietly. They're meeting with divorce attorneys just to know their options. And more of them every single month are deciding the juice ain't worth the squeeze anymore. The latest numbers on who initiates divorce haven't flipped yet. Women still file about 70% of the time, but the gap is narrowing fast for the first time in decades, and attorneys are reporting a surge in men filing first, strategically, before she realizes he's serious. They're leaving her the house with the $600,000 mortgage she insisted they buy, walking away with their retirement intact and their peace restored. 6 months later, they're lean, strong, debt free, and dating women 10 years younger who actually appreciate them, or not dating at all and loving every second of the freedom. This isn't revenge, gentlemen. This is rebalancing. This is nature correcting course after 50 years of artificial distortion. Women were told men are optional accessories. Use them when convenient, discard when not. The state will pick up the tab. But the state is broke. The tab is here. And men aren't optional when it comes to building and maintaining civilization. We are the backbone. When we withdraw our labor, our resources, our protection, our innovation, things get real primitive real fast. And primitive is exactly where we're heading for a huge segment of the population that spent years mocking the very men who used to shield them from it. So if you're a man watching this and you haven't fully walked away yet, if you're still simping, still chasing, still hoping she'll change, look at the Sarahs, look at the data, look at the fertility collapse, the net worth chasm, the empty apartments, the desperate videos. Your peace is the most valuable asset you'll ever own. Once you have it, guard it with your life, because there are millions of people waking up right now who would trade everything to take it from you, and they can't have it. And hold the line, brothers. Build, lift, stack. Protect your frame at all costs. The storm is here, and we're the only ones who built arcs. Let me take you inside some of those arcs right now because the contrast is so stark, it almost feels unfair, almost. I want you to picture a 38-year-old guy I'll call Mark. 3 years ago, Mark was married, living in a 3,200 square foot house in a Dallas suburb, $610,000 mortgage, two car payments, private school tuition for two kids, a wife who hadn't worked in 8 years and spent $1,200 a month on self care. He was pulling $180,000 a year in tech sales, working 70-hour weeks, coming home to criticism, zero intimacy, and spreadsheets every month showing they were still $800 negative despite his income. Blood pressure 148/92 on two medications, 35 pounds overweight, sleeping 4 hours a night, drinking too much on weekends just to feel something other than dread. Today, Mark lives in a 480 square foot studio apartment 20 minutes from downtown Austin. Rent $1,140 a month all in. He sold the BMW, bought a used Tacoma Cash, eats ribeyes and eggs he buys straight from local ranchers, lifts in a power rack he built in the corner of his living room, deadlifts 495 for reps, body fat under 12%. He took the same job remote, negotiated a raise to 195,000 because he's calmer and sharper now, works 32 hours a week and clears $9,800 a month after taxes and maxing retirement. His overhead is $2,900 total. He banks $7,000 every single month like clockwork. In the last 26 months, he has stacked $182,000 in cash and investments on top of a fully funded emergency fund. He sleeps 8 hours a night, blood pressure 118/74, off all meds, dates when he feels like it. Usually women in their mid-20s who cook for him and call him sir, unironically, and spends the rest of his time reading, training jujitsu, and traveling to Colombia or Thailand whenever he wants. He is happier than he has ever been in his entire adult life. And his ex-wife, she kept the house like she demanded. She's now trying to make $4,900 mortgage, taxes, and insurance payments on a part-time real estate license and whatever child support she gets. The house is worth $150,000 less than the mortgage today because the Texas market is cooling fast. She can't sell. She can't refinance. She's burning through the equity with HELOCs just to keep the lights on. Last month, she put the kids in public school because private tuition became impossible. She gained 45 pounds from stress eating, started antidepressants, and posts cryptic quotes on Instagram about narcissists and healing. Her friends are ghosting because they're all in the same sinking boat and nobody has bandwidth to help anyone else. That is not one story. That is thousands of stories playing out in every state, every income bracket, every ethnicity. The details change, the outcome doesn't. Now, zoom out and look at the macro numbers that nobody in mainstream media wants to touch with a 10-foot pole. The Federal Reserve's most recent distributional financial accounts, third quarter 2025, show that the bottom 50% of American households by wealth now hold just 2.1% of total net worth, the lowest on record. Inside that bottom 50%, single women under 45 are the fastest growing subgroup sliding into negative territory. Median checking account balance for single women aged 25 to 44 is now $980. $980. That's not even 1 month's rent in most cities. Meanwhile, single men in the same demographic have a median liquid balance of $8,700 and climbing. The wealth transfer for that is quietly happening from women to men post divorce or post walkaway is one of the largest in modern history. And it's happening without a single headline because it's peaceful, one man at a time. Credit card delinquency rates for women under 40 just hit 2008 levels, 9.4% 30 days past due. Men's delinquency in the same cohort, 4.1%. Why? Because men slashed discretionary spending the moment things got tight. Women kept the lifestyle until the cards maxed out. Bankruptcy filings from women aged 30 to 49 are up 41% year over year. Men? Up only 6%. Attorneys I talk to say they've never seen anything like it. Entire dockets filled with women who never thought this would happen to me. And the student loan default wave that everyone said was coming, it's here. Women hold 66% of the $1.78 trillion outstanding balance, and the default rate among women who went to college and never married just crossed 21%. That's 1 in 5 walking around with a wage garnishment or destroyed credit because the degree in communications or psychology didn't pay what TikTok promised. Meanwhile, the trades are absolutely printing money. Plumbers, electricians, HVAC techs, welders, guys who never bought the college lie, are clearing $120,000 to $250,000 a year, working for themselves, cash flowing everything, laughing at the recession. A buddy of mine in Phoenix, 34 years old, dropped out of college 15 years ago, started an AC company with a van and tools. Today he has 12 trucks, $4.2 million in revenue, takes home $680,000 after taxes, owns 3 houses free and clear, and spends January through March in Medellin training Muay Thai. He hasn't been on a date with an American woman in 4 years because he says, and I quote, "Why import drama when life is this good?" That's the new archetype of high value man. Skilled with his hands, financially lethal, geographically free, and completely allergic to modern relationship dynamics. Now let's talk about the passport pipeline, because this is the part that terrifies the establishment. American men are leaving in droves. Not loud expat communities in Thailand with sex tourists. That's the old cliche. I'm talking about high earning, high disciplined guys quietly relocating to Colombia, Mexico, Portugal, Poland, Argentina, Dubai, even Hungary and Romania. They're getting residency, opening businesses, learning the language, dating women who greet them at the door with dinner and a smile, and wiring money home to investments that grow while they live like kings on $3,000 a month. The State Department just released numbers showing a 380% increase in Americans renouncing citizenship or taking second residencies since 2020. The vast majority, men aged 28 to 55, they're not running from responsibility. They're running toward peace and prosperity that no longer exist in the West for the average man. And the women who spent years saying real men stay and fix things, they're now realizing those men fix themselves by leaving. I want you to think about what Christmas 2025 is going to look like for millions of single mothers who used to get $800 to $1,500 a month in child support from a guy making $28 an hour. That guy just took a one-way flight to Playa del Carmen, started an online business teaching other men how to trade Forex, and cut his child support to the legal minimum the state can garnish, about $220 a month. He's healthier, wealthier, and happier than he's ever been. She's working two jobs, kids are in daycare until 7 p.m., and the lights flicker when she runs the microwave and the heater at the same time. And that's not cruelty, that's consequence. And the consequences are about to go nuclear because we haven't even hit the commercial real estate implosion yet. Office vacancy rates in major cities are at Great Depression levels, 38% nationally. That means property tax revenue for cities is about to get slaughtered. Guess what gets cut first when cities go broke? The social services single women have been relying on for 2 generations. Section 8, SNAP increases, subsidized daycare, Yebuick, it's all on the chopping block. Illinois and New Jersey are already sending letters telling people benefits are being reduced or eliminated. When that dam fully breaks in 2026 to 2027, the scenes are going to be apocalyptic in some neighborhoods. We're going to see tent cities that are 80% women and children for the first time in American history. We're going to see women in their 30s and 40s trying to move back in with parents who are themselves broke and on fixed incomes. We're going to see a black market for male attention, 1950s style provider marriages, women openly offering cooking, cleaning, and traditional roles just to keep a roof overhead. And most men will look at that offer, remember the last 20 years, and calmly say, hard pass. Because we finally understand something profound. A man's commitment is the most expensive resource on earth. And once it's withdrawn at scale, it's not coming back in our lifetime. Birth rates will keep plummeting. We're on track for sub 1.0 in many blue states by 2030. Entire industries built around children, toy stores, minivans, pediatric dentistry will collapse. Social Security will be insolvent by 2031 instead of 2034 because there aren't enough workers paying in. The government will try to import replacement population, but the men who used to build and maintain everything have checked out. So the infrastructure crumbles faster than new arrivals can patch it. And through all of this, the men who walked away early will be living in quiet compounds in Texas, Idaho, Tennessee, Florida, places where land is cheap, taxes are low, and communities of like-minded men are forming actual tribes. They'll have solar, wells, gardens, livestock, private security, homeschool co-ops for the few who still choose to have kids with vetted women. They'll trade among themselves, barter skills, and watch the news like it's a movie about someone else's country. That's the split screen future we're walking into. One side chaos, scarcity, and desperation. The other side calm, abundance, and unbreakable brotherhood. And there is no policy, no election, no awareness campaign that reverses it at this point. The trust is shattered. The social contract is dead. The only thing left is individual men protecting their peace, their wealth, and their legacy with ruthless discipline. And so, if you're still on the fence, if you're still holding out hope that things will go back to normal, let me save you years of pain. Normal is gone forever. The world you grew up in died somewhere around 2020 to 2022. And what replaced it is a winner take all arena where peace is the ultimate luxury good. claim yours now because tomorrow the price only goes up. Build your body, build your bank account, build your brotherhood, build your boundaries out of titanium. The storm is here, and we're the only ones who built arcs. What did you think about all of this? Do you agree things have gone this far? Or do you think there's still time to turn the ship around? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away, and cheers.
Nothing says you care like crypto. Nothing can compare. Nothing says you care like crypto. Oh, nothing can compare to crypto.